representing RCL Benziger. He's been with them for quite a while. Before that, he was a PCL at the Basilica of St. Mary's in Minneapolis for many years. And I remember him probably 2006, 2007, around that time. He came to the Diocese of New Ulm for a presentation on Advent to our parish catechetical leaders at that time. So we've known each other for quite a while. And George, you could probably tell us a little bit more about yourself, but I guess you're going to start with a prayer as well.
That's
Hopefully
right.
We'll have some more populate this Zoom.
Sounds good. Well, I'm George Barrett, by the way. As Brian says, I work for RCL Benziger. I've just been named as the Parish sales representative this past year. And so a part of it is kind of dipping into my multiple years of experience in parish ministry, both in adolescent or youth ministry and then parish catechetical ministry. Most recently, as Brian told you, at the Basilica of St. Mary in Minneapolis. And then I worked for a number of different publishers. And this past year, or coming up in next year, I'll be with RCL Benziger for 10 years. So, and I can tell you a little bit about RCL Benziger in a bit. But let's just take this moment just to take a brief, kind of a breath and quiet ourselves and put ourselves in the presence of our God. Good and gracious God, as we gather this morning, let us be mindful of all that you have given us. Let us be filled with that gratitude, and let that gratitude permeate all that we do. We ask that your love enrich us, nourish us, and help us to respond to the ministry that we take so seriously, but also in this time of uncertainty. Help us be brave and boastful about our faith, and help us formulate how we're going to do and pass on that faith in our parishes and in our dioceses. We ask this through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. And as George is presenting, if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat feature. We encourage questions so that you can have some clarity on what RCL Benziger offers, especially with their online and family-based opportunities that we are looking for. Okay, George.
Okay, I'm going to just share my screen with a presentation that I put together, and I call it Compatible Digital Approaches, which for the fall, I think what I hear so many people saying is that how do I get started? Where am I going to go? What's the process that I need to have? As I listened to and talked to many PCLs and diocesan directors, in March 12th, when we actually were kind of grounded, many other dioceses were, and some took a little bit longer, but a lot of people didn't know that especially parish catechetical leaders didn't have a clue about what to do. Like, they didn't even know that every single resource that we have in print is also available online, and that RCL Benziger really has a unique approach to online resources that is just not a online ebook, but it's much more. So as you look at RCL Benziger, maybe you have seen some of the resources that we have. And what I want to do is highlight those resources for you. So you probably maybe have seen them on your shelf, or you've seen them at other places. But we have two Basil series. The first is Blessed Are We, Faith in Action. It's the longest series that we've had. It has gone through 4 editions. The edition that's just been updated in 2019 is Blessed Are We, Faith in Action. It's a um, systematic approach to catechesis that looks at themes each and every year as the young person develops. And so, for example, in second grade, the young people would really look at initiation sacraments and sacraments, how to understand sacramentality through the church, and especially the sacrament of reconciliation and Eucharist. Whereas in sixth or seventh grade, they might cover have a theme of new, Old and New Testament, and so it's a thematic program. You might have seen our spiral-based series, which is Be My Disciple. Be My Disciple covers the themes of the catechism each and every year as the young person develops and grows and goes through the grade levels. The themes get deeper and deeper, but it's just covering the similar themes each and every year. So that's a spiral approach. Those are two of our basal series that many parishes used and still use today, and will continue to use. Each of those series comes with a bilingual version, and all the bilingual versions are CME Discípulos for Be My Disciple and Bendecidos for Blessed Are We. We have a child readiness, a religion readiness program called Stories of God's Love that's also online. And that Stories of God's Love is really a child-directed process. And so it's wonderful as far as preschool and kindergarten, because the activities that are online get the young person engaged in their own activities, and they can spend a couple minutes online and then engage with their families at home through those various activities. You're probably also familiar, we have our catechist training program, which is Echoes of Faith, as well as our sacraments and family life. I think you've seen a lot of those, and I just wanted to highlight those as kind of an overview of our parish resources, a kind of high-level overview of our parish resources. What I want to talk about is you probably have heard this, is that there are, as we move into the fall, there are models of implementation that we're looking at. One is the traditional gathered model, which we did, most of us have done, and I'm even as a volunteer at the Basilica of St. Mary, I was gathered with my sixth grade in a classroom at the Basilica on Sunday morning, and I used a student book, which we used absolutely Blessed Are We. I had my catechist guide, and had some optional resources that I could use that I had to pull together from from the program that was offered. And that was a traditional approach. I think a lot of us hope to go back there, or there might be a possibility to go back there, or for example, in Minneapolis today, they just made a decision that everything in the fall will be online. And so all of a sudden, people have to start to say, okay, what do I do next? What do I have to do? So the very first thing that we did, that most parishes did, is they went to a home-based homeschooling approach. Whereas I can't duplicate what I did in the traditional gathered program. So I'm going to move towards having families, parents, responsible to homeschool their young person. And so you can see that the resources that are available, we add the ebook and the catechist guide to that, but it's really a home-based homeschooling approach that is the focus there. And I think as we move forward, there's a hope that we do some kind of family catechesis, engaging the families so that they can support their young person, but also doing an approach that is possibly a hybrid approach, where you might have catechists in a Google Classroom or a Zoom meeting, where they're actually gathering all their third graders or their sixth graders, and they're leading their classes in that hybrid approach, while also doing some family catechesis, so that the families are there to support their young person in that way. So as I look at there's three different approaches, and I think for many PCLs, that traditional and homeschooling approach is something that they can really grab onto and say, I can do this, you know. But it's that family catechesis and hybrid approach that gets a little bit more difficult. And so what I want to say is that family approach and the other resources that go along with this, there, for every single thing that we have, there's a gateway to our digital resources. And that gateway to our digital resources has all the resources that you have purchased through RCL Benziger are on that gateway. And the very first one that I want to talk about is our Family of Faith resource guide. It's a print and also digital e-resource, and it gives this resource guide gives PCLs a way to set up that hybrid family catechesis approach while engaging in that grade level catechesis as well. So it actually has assessments and family surveys and program evaluations and models to actually start to develop that hybrid approach. It's a $25 resource, but that resource also provides for you family rituals for the next three-year license throughout the 3 liturgical years. It gives you, it gives the PCL the presentations that they can do monthly, so that you're gathering those, so you can gather all your families on Zoom, or if you ideally in person, but you could gather them all, and then they can go into whatever a small group classroom approach that they want. But it really gives that kind of undergirding of that family resource, family catechesis, and it helps families move that forward. I think what I want to just point out here is that, as you can see, there's some models, and I'm using the Blessed Are We Faith in Action in this section, but this family guide can be used in any single program that's out there, Sadly or Loyola, any of your programs. What it does is simply gives that family catechetical approach to your program, so that you can give families the support they need, so that they can either homeschool their child or support their families and their children in that hybrid approach that you might move forward, that online digital approach. Okay, so it's a wonderful resource. It's really, I mean, if you think about it, $25 for 3 years is a great, wonderful way to work it. So when I talked about that, there's for every print resource, we have a digital resource that's bigger than just an ebook. You can see, so when you use RCL Benziger, you're not just getting you buy a student book, you get an ebook. That's one resource that you'd have, but you have the student ebook, and if you're a catechist, you get the catechist ebook as well. You have chapter reviews that the young person can engage in and then also fill out and turn in. You have e-assessments that are that can be modified and changed based upon how the catechist teaches. You have in that resource for the catechist, they can share saint profiles and talk about the variety of saints that connect to the lesson. In that lesson, there's actually connections to the lectionary, so that there's the way for catechists to connect the Sunday readings with the session itself. You have projects and activities, a variety of prayers. There is embedded videos around training. So let's say the session is on God's understanding of creation. There's a video that helps the catechist really understand that, and then break that open for their students in Zoom or in their classroom. One of the things about Flourish is that it's safe and secure, and there's no outside access. So I think earlier, Twyla, we talked about that people are getting information from everywhere. So RCL Benziger provides Flourish, and it meets conformity in that it keeps all the information that is in Blessed Are We or Be My Disciple within this platform, so that as a catechist, student, or family, they can access the information that's in the resource without going outside of that. Make sense? So the two programs, when you purchase any of the programs, you get all of this at once. You get the catechist guide, the student text, activity books, assessments, the family resource, music, and you get that through the Flourish online resources as well. So you're not just purchasing student text and their ebooks, you're getting the whole complement of what we offer so that you can really implement that program. And that's the one thing I want to talk about is the family resource. One of the things, and not why we call it new, is that we found out that what happened in March is that PCLs were desperate to get something going, so they would access the ebook, which they already, if they purchased the Blessed Are We or Be My Disciples, they already had access to it, but they never signed up. So they got the ebook out to all their students, and then they found out that the families needed to homeschool. And so then they sent out this catechist guide, which is huge, and that catechist guide is really for catechists to prepare for a group. Well, they found that most of the parents weren't using the catechist guide. So we came up with a family resource for both Blessed Are We and Be My Disciple that the families could easily walk through and have, so that they could actually cover the lesson with their students right there and then. So if you see it, it gives you the presentations that they need, when do they need to cover it, all of that. So it was really a way for them to walk through that process. As we said, the Be My Disciples is our spiral-based program. And again, through Flourish, you get all of these resources and more. The one thing I want to talk about is that there was a new family resource for Blessed Are We, which is grade level. The other program is Be My Disciple, which is called At Home. Because Be My Disciples is a spiral approach, the family can have multiple grade levels sitting around the table, the parents can, and actually cover the same chapter at the same time around the same topic, but at various age level activities. And so this Be My Disciples at Home guide really is a wonderful way to gather the whole family in that process. I've had many people, many parishes, just because they have used the summer program, which is another way to gather. And it's not just the summer, they're actually thinking about starting off, kind of compressing the year and starting and using the summer program with that as well. So that's another activity that goes along with Be My Disciples, and it's really helpful. So you can see this Be My Disciples at Home guide gives the family the step-by-step approach to actually walk through the guide and walk through the student book together with multiple grade levels at the same time. Okay. One of the things that's happening around the country is that there are, and I don't know, Brian, if you have a lot of Spanish-speaking parishes. What's happening is that Be My Disciple has had two very strong bilingual programs, Bendecidos and Se Mi Discípulos. And in the past 2 years, RCL Benziger has done a lot of focus groups to say, how are those Spanish-speaking bilingual parishes, how are they really conducting catechesis? And so many parishes would say that our Spanish-speaking families are great. They're really involved in liturgy, but they really come in for sacraments. They come in for reconciliation, Eucharist, kind of disappear for a while and come back in for confirmation. So through a lot of work, we have pulled together two different levels of Bendecidos Faith in Action. It's a brand new program that really focuses on the age 7 through 9 and age 10 through 13. That when we wanted to give young people and their families a way to come in and still get the undergirding and support and understanding of Catholic identity, and also immediately prepare for reconciliation and Eucharist or confirmation. And so this new program is a resource that will be online starting at the end of August, and that families can actually engage in and really be when they come into for that sacramental preparation time. So I just wanted to highlight that for you as well. This is it's a brand new resource that's coming out at the end of August and will be available. I talked a little bit at the beginning about our early childhood resources, and we have our traditional Blessed Are We Faith in Action kindergarten that's available both online and print and in Flourish. And Blessed Are We would be a more typical catechist-directed program. So the catechist would direct the young people through activities. Whereas Stories of God's Love, which is in print and then also will be on Flourish, is really a child-directed activity. So that there are videos, tips for catechists or teachers or parents that really help young people work with an activity, and they do that through play, and they come to understand both the kind of understand some stories of God as well as some Catholic language and vocabulary through those play activities. So it's really in this past spring, we found out that Stories of God's Love, because of its child directive process, is really a wonderful way to engage those young people who can't stay focused on several minutes on an online resource. Okay, so it's a nice process to do that. Questions about that? Nope.
There is one question.
Okay. Thanks, Brian.
And it's from the previous resource. It's from Twyla, and she says, "Is Bendecidos the grouped age resource that you had? Is that in English as well?" And I'm thinking where she's coming from is a lot of the kids know English and their parents know Spanish. Maybe if it's bilingual or if it's like English only. If you
it's
have
bilingual.
A resource like that.
So so all of our Spanish resources are bilingual. So one page English, one page Spanish, and so that helps, I think.
Perfect.
So and that's been great. That's the same as our sacraments program here. So we have a sacraments program that it highlighted is that it's bilingual. It's also for reconciliation and Eucharist there is a primary and an intermediate program for bilingual English and bilingual as well, and there's also a confirmation program that is available. So what we love about this program is that it can be catechist directed or online. There's a free family guide there's online director's manual, and that director's manual will help the PCL implement a grade level preparation for the sacraments. But there's also homeschool a family-directed guide that helps the young person, that helps the family direct that sacramental preparation. And that is all free and online, and the resources are all there for that. So it's available in both English and Spanish, and it really focuses on that preparation. And it uses in the sacrament of confirmation, we use the mentor guide as a way for either having the family or the sponsor help to direct that student through the sacrament. People say, well, some sponsors are not that engaged, and our hope is that they will be, and it's a way for the sponsor to really help their students to the sacrament. So this program that we have for sacramental preparation can be both homeschool as well as hybrid. Okay.
Yeah, confirmation here is done in high school.
Okay.
So your confirmation resource, is that directed toward
It's
junior high school?
It's 8th grade and up, so it's written
Okay.
for it's 8th grade and up there. So I would say it's probably more ninth grade level, Brian.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things I want to share with you, and the last thing, and I don't want to take up all your time this morning, but one resource that I think is absolutely wonderful, and you will get a copy of this PowerPoint as well. I'll send it to Paul. Is that RCL Benziger Catholic Free Resources is available for you today. It's free. And when you go into it, you will see that there are free Catholic parenting tips that you can print off or copy the link and send it out, giving parents a wonderful way of just helping build strong families. For every single month of the year, there are Catholic prayers that you can send out. There are there are activities based around the liturgical year, from everything from Pentecost to Lent, that you can actually just copy the link and send it out to every single family. There's understanding of a variety of different activities that are there. One of the things that's also there is our personal development webinars for PCLs, for families, that are wonderfully and professionally done. We have some of the top resources in the country speaking on these webinars that are just great, that are part of, and help undergird the program, but also they're free. They're available for you to have that. The one thing that is there and available is a lectionary resource. And I think at the beginning of the, I don't know if it was on the recorded presentation here or not, but so many families are streaming the Mass, and they're watching Mass at home. And at times, how do they break that open? How do they break open that experience? How do they understand that experience? There's a lectionary resource that we have that really provides background for the catechist or parent, gives a breakout sessions for their primary, intermediate, and junior high, does questions of the week. Those are the old, not old, they're part of the process of breaking open the words, and they really work towards there's a really celebration of that. And I just want to say that's available in a format that you can actually send out to families and have them pray the scriptures throughout the liturgical year and break that open. And that's available through RCL Benziger. It's a wonderful resource that actually they're going, in fact, it's been so popularly used, they're going to actually start to have people start to register for that. So you can get access to it now. It'd be great. And finally, I just want to say, if there's anything that I can do to help you in your parish and your parish community, my contact information is there. We have many more resources, but I wanted just to do a high level kind of, how does family catechesis, and then individual student catechesis. How can that all fit together? And I think we have some great resources. I think we can do a great job at working together. I'm really willing I can tell you that my day has been filled with Zoom meetings with individual PCLs at parishes, helping them get started, helping them figure out Flourish, helping them get on and get their classes set up. So whatever I can do to help you and or any of our team to help you, I'm available to do that. So I appreciate that.
Great.
Okay.
So let's open it up for any discussion, any questions. If we could turn off the mics, and if you're too shy, you could always use the chat feature, but don't be shy. Go ahead and ask your questions, since George is available to us.
No problem. So there's a and also you'll get the information. I'll make sure you get a PDF of the PowerPoint
Great,
as well.
great.
Okay.
And we'll be sending this out next week, all of the webinars we've been having this week. I see we have Father Tarcisius.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions as a pastor?
I just I like this idea about the family base.
Mhm.
That means their parents or whoever adults in that household need to be involved.
Right.
I like that idea because it's also about our own safety, safe environment.
Sure.
My other question is like, maybe this just with you, Brian, from the diocese, but it's about like a mission church. They have a very short in resources. I mean, human resources.
Mm-hmm.
And it just the program that offered by all these companies just awesome, but we have problem with, like in Corrigan, we don't have English speaking teacher, and we just don't know. I'm still figuring out how to do this online stuff. Plus, I have to deal with some families. They don't have sufficient internet as well.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's something that we try to figure it out how can. But from the company, I feel like it is a great program, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Now just need to how we implement in our own parish. So
Okay.
thank you, Brian, for including me in this
Absolutely, Father T.
conference.
And of course, Twyla's here. She's available to those folks in Corrigan as well as Livingston, where you're at. And so anything that you need from us, we're going to accompany you every step of the way, because this is a new way of doing things for many people.
Understand,
So
yeah.
we're there for you. George is there for you with RCL Benziger Resources. So he's willing to accompany us as well, especially with
Absolutely.
his new position.
Yeah. Yeah. I cover the whole central time zone. So I'm working with all the dioceses, and really my time is spent to help people get online, help them see the resources, all of that. So I love it. And in fact, I have more contact with parish catechetical leaders than I ever had before. So it's really been wonderful.
Yeah. And you know, the family thing that Father T was referring to, and there's several other publishers that are offering this as well, but I really, really like the multi-age, whole family type of opportunities that's there. And that's a relief to a lot of parents, because a lot of parents are thinking, okay, I got to spend time with little Johnny, little Susie, little Bobby, and individually.
Right.
But this way they can pull the resources together and build that domestic church. So that's really good.
Right. Right. Any other questions?
Other questions?
Well, if you have any other questions or any other needs, I'll make sure that you get my access to my email. And so if anybody needs anything, as Paul just said, you certainly can give me a call or email me, and I'll respond right away because I'm available. I'm not out and traveling anymore, so that's great. Well, thank you, Brian, and thank you, Paul, and the whole diocese for allowing me to do this time, and appreciate it, Twyla, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
One
Thank you,
other
sir.
thing,
Thank you.
George. Our
Yeah.
Vicar General defines holiness as someone being available. So there you are.
Good. I'm here, so
That's
thank
right.
you. Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, George.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.